Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson. This is Stephen Howson FC. This is tactical analysis, performance analysis on Manchester United and Swansea, and as always this is sponsored by the One Football app. You can check it out, the link is in the description below, and as you can see you can find out all the news, what is going on with Manchester United and what is going on with every other club around the world as well, because it's got a really good news section on here that you should definitely be checking out. Turn the alerts on and find out what is going on before anybody else does. I've got it on, honestly it's my now go-to source for news. You can also see what's going on with transfers and Oxlade-Chamberlain to Manchester United. Oh, that's a load of rhubarb. Where's that? That's a scary one. Ross Barkley to Chelsea. That's an interesting one, isn't it? They need a striker. I wonder if there's something going the other way there with Diego Costa. That could be pretty interesting. And as always, you can find out what is going on in the Matchday Centre. There's tons of information in here about all of the upcoming games, but you can also go and check out all of the stats from the previous games as well. And it's well worth a look at. It's a fantastic app powered by Opta for all the stats that you need. Cracking app. Get it on notifications. Link is in the description below. Support them. They're supporting me. Nice one. Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson, this is Stephen Howson FC, and this is my performance analysis of Manchester United's victory over Swansea 4-0 at the Liberty City Stadium, and that was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? I mean, the last 10 minutes, talk about clinical, that's what we've really missed from Manchester United in recent years, isn't it? Big time. So, I was making my notes throughout the game, and a lot of it was focusing on how effective Swansea's 3-5-2 was at keeping Manchester United quiet, limiting us to weird shots in difficult places to score from, not really creating many clear-cut chances. And then Swansea got a little bit of a sniff, didn't they? They thought they could go on and snatch a draw. They thought they could go and get a goal. They switched it up. They went 4-4-2. And at the same time, Manchester United changed a couple of things as well. And at that time, Manchester United opened up, went through the gears, effectively ended the game in a couple of minutes. I think it was 3.5 minutes from the second goal going in to the last one going in. Unbelievable. And that's that level of clinical finishing, that steamrolling that we've really lacked over the years, and that we was hoping Jose Mourinho was going to bring in. So, as I said, our own substitutions allowed us to strike on the counter those chances in quick succession with absolutely clinical precision goal scoring. So United rack up 4 goals on the road. Let's get into it then. So we started again in a 4-2-3-1. And as with last week, we saw some players occupying similar sort of positions. Pogba's quite far advanced in here, but a lot of that comes in the final quarter of the game when he actually played right wing towards the very end of the game. But a lot of that comes in that final quarter of the game where he was in the final third a hell of a lot, pulling the strings for Manchester United. Prior to that, it was a little bit further back, but there's a little bit more of this, and I'm going to talk specifically about Juan Mata. So, I thought prior to the game that Herrera would probably been a better option than Juan Mata in this particular game, allowing him and Matic to control any counters that we need to contain, but also Herrera getting forward and him and Paul Pogba really setting the stall out to attack and create a little bit of space just in front of him. When you play 4-2-3-1, there's someone occupying that number 10 spot just off the striker, sort of in the middle. And Pogba likes to drive into that sort of space, and when you play number 10 there, that causes us a few problems. So I thought Herrera alongside Pogba in a midfield 3, especially up against what I thought was going to be a 4-3-3, turned out to be a 4-2-3-1, but essentially the principles are the same. You're still playing against a 3-man midfield. It would have been better, I think, for Manchester United to go with that. But, as I said, Juan Mata struggled to get into this game today, was a complete passenger in this game. Partly because of the crowding from the opposition, although normally he's pretty good at that. Usually able to find space, his control and his touch is fantastic, so he can find and turn space, but he just wasn't getting on the ball at all. And I thought most of our chances came... I think most of our chances, the way they came about, isolated Juan Mata. The chances, at least in the first half, generally was counter-attacks with one man. Juan Mata is not going to be a counter-attacking player because he just doesn't have that speed, and he's a little bit at odds with the rest of the team. Mata's only involvement in a shot for the whole game came when he crossed it for Phil Jones's header. That was his only involvement. This is Juan Mata we're talking about. This is a guy that creates chances and scores goals all day long. His only involvement today was a single cross for Phil Jones. That was the only time that he got involved in a shot, let alone a goal. A shot from Manchester United was on the back of his cross. That is it. That's not Juan Mata that we're normally used to seeing. That's why I thought he was completely ineffective today, a total passenger, and I think Herrera's involvement in making it a 4-3-3 would have made us a lot better. We're better when Pogba gets pushed up. Here's Juan Mata's average position. And obviously the heat map shows his average touches. He was cool. There was not a lot in there from Juan Mata today. So, back to Pogba then. So, once Mata went off and Fellaini came on, Pogba moved up the pitch, and you will see his involvement in 2 of the 3 United goals once that happens. So, here is a nice and early counter-attack that involves Paul Pogba once he was moved up the pitches. Fellaini's obviously now come on the pitch. It was a long ball lofted up there for Lukaku. Lukaku knocks it down. Pogba gets on the end of it. And as you can see here, Pogba on the ball. He's got 3 options to his left, to his right, and straight in front of him. He elects to go with straight in front of him. He fires it into the path of Lukaku, and it's an excellent covering defensive tackle there from the Swansea defender. But as you can see, Paul Pogba, when he's got the options at his feet there, is absolutely deadly for Manchester United. So this should have put Swansea on notice. Swansea should have been aware of what was happening when Paul Pogba was getting into these positions at around about this time, but they didn't pick up on it, and that proved to be lethal for them because he wasn't involved in the second goal. He was a little bit further back, but as soon as that happened, I thought we're onto something here. There's space started opening up, and well, you know from yourself, this one, Paul Pogba starts and he gets on the end of it, and it's an absolutely fantastic finish. Check this one out. As you can see, Paul Pogba laying it off there over to the right hand side, follows his run up because he's not as deep as normal, into the box. There's a beautiful little pass this from Mkhitaryan, and what an unbelievable finish this is from Paul Pogba. Are you kidding me? You've got to have some serious amount of confidence to even try that, let alone pull that off. So as that one goes in, it's now 3-0. The game is pretty much put to bed, but United have got another goal in them. So a counter-attack, brilliant hold-up play here from Lukaku. And as you can see, he's got 3 options coming steaming right ahead of him. And it's Marshall that picks this loose ball up off him. Not sure if that's a pass or it's just loose. That one's a little bit loose. Paul Pogba picks it up. But again, Paul Pogba, it's a 3v2. He's got options either side of him. What does he elect to do? He's going to fire Tony Marshall in, who's going to cut inside, and he's going to bury it home with absolute dead-eye shooting. Unbelievable finish that. That there... Again, we've seen it in pre-season. We saw it against West Ham. We've seen it again here today. Manchester United on the counter-attack are going to absolutely tear you to pieces, and it's fantastic. And it's my new favourite thing in the whole wide world. We have to get Paul Pogba in the number 8 position. Paul Pogba in the number 8 position does this. Absolutely carves you to pieces. So, pre-game, I said the 3 keys to victory was going to be cut the supply line to Tammy Abraham, and we did this. We did this quite easily. Bailey and Jones, again, forming a formidable partnership, and Tammy Abraham is absolutely no joke. He's going to take some teams by surprise this season. He's really going to shock some teams, mark my words. Exploit their high line on the counter. We did it, but we only did it in like the last 15 minutes or so. We saw the once they went to 4-4-2, we did it excellently. Really difficult for us to do it in the first hour or so of the game. We struggled. We did get the occasional little counter off, and we looked dangerous when we was doing it, but they had 2-3 defenders up against our lone striker. As soon as they changed formation, it was over for him. We was creating overlaps, and we was looking the dominant force that we ended up being. And the final one was cross from deep, and we just didn't do it. And that's disappointing. We didn't even try it. If you look at the pass distribution, you'll see Daley Blind favoured balls into Mkhitaryan, and Valencia favoured balls into Pogba. For starters, they wasn't getting high enough up the pitch for me as attacking fullbacks because they wasn't under threat, and we saw Swansea sit back. We could have pushed on a little bit further, but we could have been firing balls into the box. I think we attempted 2 crosses all day, and they weren't successful. It was just nonsense from Manchester United in that aspect. And that's an area that I think we could have definitely exploited more. I don't think they're amazing in the air. We're dealing with crosses from deep. We've seen how teams have previously hurt them doing that, and we didn't even try to do that today. So 3-5-2 is going to be a formation that many teams are going to try and utilise against us because of this first hour performance from Swansea. It effectively slowed us down. It was 1-0, we was winning, but it was from a corner. It wasn't through anything to do with the formation. We struggled. That was almost like the first hour of a game that we would see under, or whenever the first goal went in, right on the stroke of half-time, the first half essentially. All a possession, not really many quality shots, 0-0. That's the sort of game where United wouldn't manage to get over the line last season. What's good from our point of view is that we're now managing to get over the line in that type of game. But opposition managers don't want to be the next guy that gets absolutely slapped by Manchester United. So people are going to be looking at 3-5-2. They're going to be going, that slowed Manchester United down. We need to think about it. What I really wanted to see was Blind and Valencia doubling up with Mkhitaryan and with Rashford, or even Mata if Mata was supposed to be on the right wing. and trying to get round that wing back. The wing back is where the weak link can be found in a 3-5-2 formation. Especially the way Swansea deploy it. Swansea like to keep a really compact defensive three, and that was what was making it really difficult for Lukaku. Mega constricted. So you can double up on a wing back with your own fullback and your winger, and you can create a 2v1. And if you are successful in doing that 1 or 2 times, you're going to drag over that side centre half. That side centre half goes away. The other 2 then are left to deal with whoever's streaming through from midfield and Lukaku. And I fancy Lukaku's chances, especially if that's when you start throwing crosses into him. When he's got 3 centre halves dealing with him, yeah, no one's winning a header. But when you go 2v1, I actually really fancy Lukaku's chances 2v1 in the air against most defenders. We didn't even try that. That was what was really disappointing, I thought, for me. If we'd have tried that, it might have dragged some defenders out of position, and we might have seen a little bit more from Lukaku. As you can see from this clip here, like 7, 8 men behind the ball when Lukaku has got it, in front of Lukaku, just completely stopping him dead. This was what his problem was in the first half. Lukaku was having to come deeper and deeper and deeper because they was just crowding him out completely. Now, this is what we're going to start to see with Manchester United. We saw it a little bit last season, that you can crowd out Pogba from a match, and then everyone goes, Pogba goes missing in the big game. No, opposition have tactically worked out that he's one of the better players in our side and done something to deal with him. Now, you can do that with Lukaku to an extent, and I think Swansea did that to an extent. Then he gets his one opportunity late in the second half and he buries it. That's why I really like Lukaku, because he finds a way. So I certainly can't complain. I'm certainly not going to complain. I just think there's these areas for improvement, and I'm sure Jose's going to do that. Scoring 8 unanswered goals in your first 2 games of the season puts the whole division on notice. And there is not a manager in this division who's thinking, I'm going to be the next one to get slapped. So I definitely think we're going to be seeing opposition line up against us in a 3-5-2. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this post-match analysis again. If you are liking this content, please let me know. Can we get this to 2,500 likes? We got quite a lot of likes on the last one. Let's see if we can start pushing the boundaries a little bit. Can we get 2,500 likes on this one? Smash that like button. Give it a share if you like the analysis. Honestly, it really helps with it getting seen. It doesn't get seen by that many people, so it really helps if you just take the time out to just throw it on Twitter or throw it on Facebook and tell everyone what you like about it. Let me know if there's anything specific that you want to see for the Leicester pre-game analysis, anything that you think that we should be looking at. I'll take a look at it this week prior to the game, and I'll get this out next week. Thank you for tuning in once again. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you again. And I'll see you next week. Laters.